Welcome back to Rotten and Forgotten. This here behind me is my second tractor I've ever purchased. It's a Farmall letter series, and you know, it's the big one. This here is an M. It's not a super M, so I guess it's not quite the biggest, but it's a 38 horsepower 1949 tractor, two-wheeled row crop, and you know, I picked her up right from a family member. This thing's kind of a family heirloom, to tell you the honest truth, because it's been getting passed down and passed around, and it's made it around the family tree pretty darn well. But yeah, I paid a whopping $600 for it, and you know, it's got a 4-cylinder C248, and it's got 5 gears, 6 I guess with reverse, and it's quite the unit. And I've been using it for the better part of 3-4 months. I've been using it for snow removal this year. Luckily we haven't had any snow, so I haven't been using it that much. But of course, you know, I own it, so it's acquired an issue, and I'll show you it right now. Yeah, man, this is one snazzy tractor. But anyways, she fires up just great, and it purrs like a kitten. But as soon as you put the PTO in gear, or as soon as you run 1 through 4 on the gear shift, you get this little click going on. Not sure if you can hear it on the cameras, but it's got a... When the PTO isn't in gear and when you're not in 4th through 1st, there's no click. It sounds like a Farmall should. Just a happy little running tractor, but this Farmall's equipped with a dual 250 loader. It goes really high and it's pretty fancy, but yeah, I'm not sure. This thing's got a heck of a tick, so let's get her in the shop and get to work, start pulling covers off and trying to figure out what's going on underneath me. If we can get that tick fixed, this thing's gonna be back to mint condition. That's one heck of a tick going on. The good news is it's pretty darn consistent and it's pretty darn loud, so I think we should be able to figure out where it's coming from. But before we dive into this tractor, I'd like to make it clear, I'm no Farmall mechanic. This is the first M that I'm gonna be ripping into, pretty much the first Farmall too. So you guys are just gonna have to bear with me, and we're gonna do some learning together, I guess. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Farmall made these tractors from 1939 till 1954, and they made over 270,000 units, and I guess I'm just lucky enough to have one nowadays, and there's still a lot of these things out there. And yeah, the tractors that built America, I tell you what, you had to be a real man to be operating this thing all day. There's no air conditioning, and there's no radio, and auto steer, that wasn't around. And yeah, it's a different kind of tractor for a different breed of farmer, and it's pretty neat. So let's start diagnostics? I don't know. You know, you might be surprised to learn there's no check engine light on this machine. We got a temperature gauge and an oil gauge, and other than that, there's no indicators at all, and there's nowhere to plug in a code reader, so we're gonna have to use our eyes and our ears to, you know, try to locate our issue. So yeah, let's fire this thing up. I'm gonna walk around the machine and try to figure out and pinpoint where that knock's coming from, or click, I should say. We'll put the PTO in gear so it does click, but here we go. Starts up really good. Sounds like it's coming from down here. It's not really in the back of the transmission. It's right in this bell housing, going from the engine to the transmission. It kind of sounds like it's in this reservoir here too. So it sounds like our ticking's coming from somewhere inside the bell housing here. And this actually has a different type of hydraulic pump for the lift all or hydraulic cylinders, if you want to call it that. That's what this lever here controls. You got 2 inputs on there, and this is the reservoir for it. It's homemade. Somebody completely redid it. Normally there's a pump inside this housing itself that runs across off a shaft, and then it drives in there. But this one's actually gear driven off of the timing somehow. Not sure exactly how that works, but I do know that's our hydraulic pump up here. It's not putting out that much flow. They're pretty slow from what I understand. And that's why back here we have a rear hydraulic pump, and it's actually shaft driven off the PTO, and that's what runs the farm loader and all that. So on this diagram here, it shows space for the lift all, and that's what that reservoir is tucked up into. So I'm going to check, see if there's any oil in that. If there's not, I'm going to drop it down and look up in there and see what I can see. Ooh, can you even call that oil? It's like a big drop of sludge. That thing sounds empty. That might not be good. I don't think this reservoir is going to be that heavy, but I want to make sure I can let it come down gently in case there's anything else dangling up there. I'm pretty sure this is just a reservoir, but uh-oh. Doesn't feel like it's coming down with the jack. Oh, hey, I bet the fill neck's got something to do with that. I got the 4 bolts out holding our reservoir, but this fill neck is holding us in place, so I'm going to have to disassemble this too to get that out of there. Oh, ooh, barely. There's just barely enough clearance to get past the clutch linkage, so that's cool. From what I'm seeing, I got the fill side undone, but I'm still connected here. So I think I got to take this nut off, loosen this, and then this will have to get unscrewed as well. And then that tank will come out, and then this will come up maybe? I'm not sure exactly. This is all connected to that tank, so it's got to come apart somehow, but wow. Could you imagine trying to put this together? I mean, there is some serious mind-boggling going on. It's pretty darn impressive. I definitely have a big enough crescent wrench, but probably pipe wrench on this collar. Got to make sure I don't forget to take my pictures because there's a 98% chance I'm going to forget how all this goes together. If it's like anything else I do. But I always got video, so that's kind of nice. A return is free, and it's just more pipe thread. Once again, my wrench is definitely big enough, but it's what I got on hand at the moment, so I think it's gonna work. Why are you getting so gosh darn tight? So hindsight, I did this basically as backwards as you could, but right now I'm struggling with this fitting here. It's supposed to, you know, just unscrew and everything should be good. But I got a feeling something's a little bent in here, like maybe something jumped up and whacked that because it's not loosening as well as it should. I'll be able to get it off, but I'm a little afraid I'm gonna break it, but we'll see, time will tell. Wow, that was tight. I can't believe how tight that was. Okay, this thing should come out of here now, unless I gotta pull that other side out too. That could be a possibility. There is no oil in this too, which is really concerning because I'm pretty sure that's supposed to have oil on that pump. Otherwise, that's probably burnt out. Who knows? So that tank is so tight in the frame here, I gotta pull this little stub out so I can drop that reservoir. And there's not much to grab onto other than threads, so I'm gonna try to get wiggled kind of back there. It's gonna bite on the threads a little bit. Here, This reservoir should come out now, I think. I said that about 4 times now, so. Here we go. Wow. There's a little bit of dirt in there, but yep, that's a tank. Now what do we got going on up here? Holy moly, look at all that. What am I even looking at? That's the real question. Our reservoir is removed and we're looking at a whole lot of mechanicalism in here. It's not that complicated though, and I'm going to try to explain this to the best of my ability, but I'm definitely not the best person to explain it. Anyways, here we go. This is our flywheel. Inside the flywheel we have our pressure plate, and behind the pressure plate is our clutch plate. Now the pressure plate puts pressure onto the clutch plate when we are in gear and when the clutch is not depressed. So once you depress the clutch, it turns this rod in here like that, and it puts pressure on these arms, and when these arms have pressure, there's a mechanical advantage of some sort. I don't know exactly how it works, but anyways, it relieves these arms. It pushes these arms in, and these arms come out, and then there's no pressure on our clutch plate. And I'm going to go hop up on the tractor, and I'll push the clutch in and explain how it's going. You'll see what's going on, and you'll understand it. So I'm going to depress the clutch right now, and as you can see, that pressure plate has pulled back because the arms have went in. Really mind-boggling. You see what's going on? There I release the clutch. I push the clutch in. Now I release the clutch. And that right there is how a clutch works. It's not that complicated. It is. There's a lot more that goes into it than just that, but the operation of it's pretty simple. You're just disconnecting the pressure plate from the clutch, so there's nothing going on from the pressure plate back. I'm going to fire the tractor up without the PTO engaged, so it should just be that engine spinning. Let's try it. I don't hear or see anything out of the ordinary yet, so I'm going to put the PTO in gear and see if that makes a difference. Our knock's there. Okay. What's making that knock? I do not know. Whew. The knock is still there, which is not surprising, and it sounds like it's somewhere in the transmission now that I got all that stuff out of the way, so that's great. Now there's a cover right in front of the battery tray I'm going to peel off, and we're going to look in there and do some more searching. Cover removed. I got the transmission inspection cover pulled off, and I don't see anything that's blatantly broken yet, but I think I'm going to try to start up the tractor, and I don't think this will spin when everything's disengaged, but once we engage the PTO, maybe the bottom will spin. I'm not sure. We're going to find out. I got that camera over there, and if you get splattered, that's fine, but you guys will come up here with me, and yeah, we're going to put her in the lowest idle we can get her and just try to see what happens and look inside here and watch the magic, I guess. Fire in the hole. Nothing's spinning. I'm going to let the clutch out. Now we're spinning. Well, I can't let the clutch all the way out. That's for darn sure. I'm going to have to ride it. I'm going to try putting the PTO in gear and then riding the clutch. See if it starts clicking again. Wow, it's kind of fun to watch that oil splash around in there. I'm sure it's not good on the clutch, but something is definitely loose underneath there. Good to know. We're a few hours into wrenching on the M now, and I've been learning a lot. Number one, coffee still tastes good at night. Don't tell my mom. Number two, I've been trying to figure out how I can get that tick noise without running the engine. So I jacked up the back of the tractor, and I figured if I put her in gear and turn the wheel, it should turn the gears inside there, but in all actuality, it makes the other wheel turn the opposite way because there's still, you know, pressure on the drive shaft from the engine, so the engine's not turning over. When I turn this wheel, it's going to the easiest route, which is the other wheel, because there's a differential in there. So then I was thinking some more, and I'm like, well, how do I disconnect the engine from the transmission? And, well, I suppose you could take that little coupler out of there. Or, you know, we use this thing called a clutch, which is exactly what it's built for and made for, is disengaging the transmission from the engine. So you depress the clutch, and look at there, that other wheel doesn't spin, and my gears inside the transmission are spinning, which is going to help me identify where the noise is coming from. So yeah, I'm going to ratchet strap that clutch down, and we're going to do some listening in there and try to figure something out. If I can't tell nothing from this access port, the whole top of the tractor's coming off, and we're going to split open that transmission. Okay, the clutch is depressed. Let's turn this wheel here and see if we can get her click to come back. We'll give her a really good spin. Oh yeah, I hear a click. Where's that click coming from? If you look down on that very bottom gear, looks good right there. We are missing a spline or a tooth. One whole tooth and a part of tooth. Can you see that there? Might be kind of hard to see, but that seems to give us our tick. And that right there, friends, is the greatest fear I had. A chipped tooth in the transmission. I'm not exactly sure what that bottom shaft does completely, whether it runs the PTO on the end. I know it used to run the pump underneath there, but yeah, I'd say that's definitely part of our problem. There could be more chipped gears in here, especially if there's been metal floating around, but that's not ideal. That's not good at all. And that's going to make this job get a whole lot more complex. So for now, I'm going to button up all the things that I got laying around. So put that drain and the reservoir all together somewheres and make sure my plate bolts are all in the right spot and kind of get things tidied up before I dive any deeper. We got the reservoir and the plate over here, and all the bolts are where they're supposed to be. So I'm going to start removing things off of here. The battery's got to go, the steering post has to go, the seat's got to go, and then we can start loosening up bolts on top of that plate and get the cherry picker over here. And yeah, it's going to get pretty fun. So whoa, darn it, that thing, why do you spray two different ways? That is silly, not cool at all. Sometimes it's best just not to ask questions because we currently have success and that's all that matters. And that's probably the most inefficient way you can drain fuel out of an M. Oh no, I didn't stop. I'm not sure if it's like this at your guys' shop, but you drop something on the floor. We're talking a 3-foot drop here. This is how far that washer made it. All the way over here. That's like 25 feet, and it got past the bucket. How is that even possible? I don't get it. It happens all the time. It's mind-boggling, but yeah, tank is removed, and now we can start working on that column. Holy moly, we got her kind of ripped apart. Everything's out of the way other than the shifter. I haven't decided exactly how that all comes apart. I know there's a roll pin down underneath here that's got to come out, and then this will come off, but I don't know how it's all held together underneath this plate, so I got to look on the internet on that, make sure I'm not going to wreck anything. But other than that, I was able to get all my bolts out, including the 2 side ones. They are right underneath here on the brake housing. They go into this plate too. If you don't take those out, you can have a heck of a time trying to get this plate off from what I heard. I'm not sure on this one up here because it's all nasty and rusted off. I don't know if that's an actual bolt that I need to worry about. I don't think it is. But other than that, all my battery bolts came out too, which apparently those ones can be real bad. But yeah, knock on metal, I think all the bolts are out. I'll figure out what to do with that shifter. We're going to get the cherry picker in here and pop this case off and see what else is going on in our transmission. And yeah, that was a lot of bolts. I mean, I know it's 1949. It shouldn't be that complicated, but it's really not. It's just, there's a process to it. So, yeah. So it's do or die time, I guess, for the transmission cover. We're kind of floating at the moment. I'm gonna go find a big block, lay it down here on the floor, find another one for the back because there's 3 sets of shift forks that are dangling underneath there, and I really don't want to mess them up. Don't really know how they work. Probably should have did some more research on that, but if we can get this cover off here and we can probably call it a night. It's about 12 o'clock, and I think I started at 7 or 6 or I don't know, but we're doing it. We're getting her done, and we're learning a lot. Brains full, and it's almost bedtime. So yeah, let's get this cover pulled off here and get looking in there a little more. Okay, a little more. Carefully go over the differential. Not too bad. Those are the shift forks I was talking about, and I don't think I messed them up at all. They should all still be sitting in neutral. Woo-wee! Okay, so I'm going to drop this plate on down here, get down to the earth again. Oh, down there, like that. Well, we did it. Up front here we have the transmission. There's some gears missing on the bottom shaft, and back here we got a differential, and these are our 2 bull gears, and as you can see, this bull gear is missing a gigantic chunk out of them. So that's, you know, great. And we're only seeing half the gears right now, so I'm going to have to get all this oil out of here. There's supposedly 15 gallons, so that's going to take a little bit of bucketing. But yeah, holy moly's, that's how the M operates and moves, I guess. Well, I think that's about as far as I'm going to get for tonight. We've got a lot more thinking to do, a lot more things to figure out, but for now, I'm going to call this episode over, I guess. So thanks for watching Rotten and Forgotten. If you liked what you saw, stick around because this M's got a long road to recovery. So Yeah, anyways, we'll catch you guys later. I'm going to bed. It's bedtime.